This is the Nerdy Things Podcast. This podcast contains strong language, adult themes, and poorly developed ideas. We apologize for nothing. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 29 of the Nerdy Things Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Kevin. I am joined, as always, by Jules. Hey, Jules.
Heyo.
And Tim. Hey, Tim. How are you?
Good morning.
Get that phlegm out, Tim. We got a lot of talking to do about a lot of nothing.
It's Phlegm Voice morning.
Phlegm Voice Tim joining us on the podcast for the first time.
He's not a new host. He's an old host with an old problem.
Yeah, I haven't talked yet this morning. I love that.
Boy.
Your voice really needs to warm up. Like, I used to have this. This was a much bigger problem when I was single and lived by myself. Because it could be like 4 p.m. before you actually went out anywhere, and you go out and you still have like I just woke up morning voice. Because what do you walk around the house talking to yourself? No,
I do. Yes.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't. I just walked around the house in silence, doing my thing, and
I sang.
Yeah. Then I get out, and at 4 o'clock, and my first utterance to the grocery store bagger is "Thank you."
And then you're like, "Oh fuck, I haven't talked today.
Right?
What the hell's this?" Yeah.
No, see, I couldn't do that.
Definitely.
I'm on my way to the store and I'm singing whatever song's on the radio. If I'm alone, I'm sitting here singing to myself.
I didn't take you for a
I'm
singer.
I'm not in public. I don't sing because I have a horrible singing voice, I think. I don't know. But I sing to myself, and I've often been caught lip syncing and singing at work by customers, and that's kind of awesome.
We got to do karaoke, guys.
No, that's not
Nerdy
happening.
Things karaoke.
I would love to do that. I am a big car singer. I am a big shower singer. I enjoy doing karaoke. I love to sing all the time.
Wow.
But yeah, when I'm around my house, not as much. Mostly in the car, so people can see me at stoplights. That's my goal.
There you go. Windows down, blaring it up.
Windows down with my middle finger up.
There you go.
Up. Yeah.
Nope, we're done.
All right, guys. So, first off, I want to get to the sponsor of the week, Nerd Pins. Nerd Pins is pretty awesome.
Nerdpins.net is an official sponsor of the Nerdy Things Podcast.
Every time. All right. Nerd Pins is the brainchild of Joe Van Dyke, a Florida man living in downtown Los Angeles. Joe has an extensive background in arts and music, having spent all of his 20s playing and touring in punk and hardcore bands and organizing large group art shows around Florida. Nerd Pins is not limited to one specific style, but an umbrella that allows Joe to make and pursue anything he feels like creating. All of the pins and products are designed by him, some paying homage to music, movies, arts that he is a fanboy of, others being original ideas and images of his own. Nothing is off limits for Nerd Pins, whether it be thought-provoking and provocative or simple and amusing. Thank you to Nerd Pins. Go to nerdpins.net, or you can find the link and some of the pins that he sent us on nerdythingspod.com. And yeah, and he's giving away one free pin, I think, still for his 1-year anniversary. Like I said already, nerdythingspod.com is where you can get to all of our stuff. You can find merch. You can be a patron.
You can get nerdy news. You can find anything you're looking for.
Pretty much a one-stop shop for anything and everything that you can ask for. nerdythingspod.com. And there's links to our YouTube channel, links to the actual podcast, and all that stuff right there. It's a central hub. Just go to it. Go check it out if you've never been. I think there's like a link down in the description, so you have no reason not to go to it. Just
there's no ads.
nerdythingspod.com.
There's no subscribing. There's no nothing. Your mom would want you to go there. I mean, she misses you. She does. You should call her.
We save all that stuff for the podcast. All the ads, we save that for the podcast.
Yeah, all that.
It's
that's
funny.
on the
I was
podcast.
reading an article earlier this week. Hey, listeners, no shock. We do this because we love it, and we wouldn't do it if we didn't love it, but we do want more people to listen. Like, that's part of our goal. So I was like reading an article this week as to how to reach more podcast listeners. And one of the key pieces of advice was go straight to your content. No fluff, no advertising at the very beginning. I'm like, wow, we do exactly the opposite, but people seem to like it. So we're going to stick with it.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, Nerdpin sounds cool, and nerdpins.net's pretty awesome. And You know, we want our fans that listen all the way through. I mean, you can just skip it. Like, if you don't like what we talk about in the beginning, skip to the nerdy news. Just 15 seconds, boom.
Don't skip it. Our little stories and interludes at the beginning are some of the best parts of our show. Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
That's pretty flavor.
That's flavor.
Now that we derailed, let's get back to it. NerdyThingsPod.com. Become a patron. Go get some merch. I'm wearing a Nerdy Things, Stranger Things shirt right now. It looks pretty snazzy and all that stuff. Go click all that stuff. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at NerdyThingsPod, at NerdyThingsPod. It's the same thing for everything. And if you can't do that, go leave us an iTunes review. And I'm going to read one right now by Tommy Lee Jones Died on the Moon. They said, awesome show. I really love the format of the show with nerdy news and the variety of stuff they talk about, video games, movies, comics, etc. It's really the one-stop shop for nerd talk. And that's from Will from Hey Down in Front. And Hey Down in Front, thank you so much for all your support. Y'all are really awesome. And we see y'all messaging us and you know, liking all our stuff, and that's really cool. Thank you so much. Big shout out. Go check out their podcast as well if you can. And if you like podcasts, you obviously do.
Yeah, I listened to their Ghostbusters episode the other day.
Oh, cool. I think they just did a Predator one recently, so that's pretty cool.
Neat. Very neat.
Congrats on listening, guys.
Thank you, and congrats on your amazing choice in picking podcasts. One thing before, I kind of want to get not so serious, just a little bit. There's been like a whole thing, a hurricane thing. If y'all haven't heard about it, listeners, Hurricane Harvey kind of hit Texas, and that's pretty close to my home and where I live. And these places that got hit are places that I visit, and I visited as a child, and you know, even I visited this summer because I went on tour with my band. So if there's any way you can help, or any, you know, resources or anything that you can provide for these people that are rebuilding, because it hit pretty hard. Not just Houston. Everybody's talking about Houston, but there's a ton of smaller cities like Rockport, Galveston, and all that stuff that have been hit pretty hard and demolished and all that stuff. So if there's any resources or anything that you can do, you can help out with the Red Cross, just donating money and things like that. The easiest way probably is the Red Cross. Just text 90999, text them Harvey, HRVEY, and that'll donate $10 straight to Red Cross. So anyway, you can help out. And if you want to get messaging with me, or if you're in the San Antonio area or in Texas area, you can message me at Jules the Human on anything. And I know a lot of people that are doing a lot of pretty cool stuff for people. So if you want to message me and you want to know how to help out, you can message me there.
That's great. I actually have some additional links that I'm going to put in the show notes too for anybody that wants to donate to specific things that'll help people that have been hit by this.
Yeah, my awesome. Wife's from Dallas, Fort Worth, which is obviously, you know, way away from the disaster zone. But I know some members of her family have traveled down to Houston to try and help. And, you know, it's Texas, so it's, you know, close to our hearts. So definitely prayers with those in Houston and the coastal area, you know, hoping that everything goes as well as possibly can be expected at this point. So yeah, give your support. It would mean a lot to a lot of people.
Yep, that's right, Lone Star State. You're not alone in this.
Oh, God. All right, back to goofs.
All right, anything else, or is it time to get into nerdy news?
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Nerdy news.
Nerdy news.
At 6 o'clock. All right. So, you know, we are a podcast. I think the first thing I'd want to talk about is that the Lore podcast is getting an anthology series on Amazon.
You know, that's pretty cool. I mean, a lot of people love Lore. I listened to Lore for a while. I go in and out of phases with podcasts where I'm like, I really love this show, and I listen to all of it, and I'm like, okay, let me detox on this show for a while. But Lore is just fantastic. Like, just the storytelling it's great. I love it.
Guys, I'm not familiar. Give me a little background. What's Lore?
So Lore is basically like an anthology podcast that gets into folklore. It's like the X-Files, and it talks about different, not conspiracy theories, but different monsters and different creatures and things like that exist that are from you know, stories.
So it's a storytelling podcast, a little bit like Night Vale kind of thing. You know, not a podcast, but a storytelling medium, right?
Yeah, not so much like Night Vale, but
But they're not reporting events. They're not talking about like actual things. They're telling stories.
Well, no, it's not stories so much. It talks about like how vampires and werewolves and such are rooted in truth. So it'll sort of delve into where these lore items come from. So like, what is the origin of the Loch Ness Monster?
So it's like what Marshall from How I Met Your Mother would listen to.
That's weird, but sure.
Because he's a believer in all of that stuff. And
a lot of people listen to
real. It. I'm just trying to get a vibe of the show here. You know?
Okay, cool. No, it's really interesting. It's really informative, and if you want to learn something with your audio medium, it's the place to do it. And you learn a little bit by entertainment, because it's really entertaining to know these sort of, backgrounds. They go back and he tells stories about the history of some of these things. I listened to one, I think, about like pirates and stuff, a while back, and it was pretty interesting. It really helps you understand, and it's really entertaining as well. So definitely, it's super awesome that Amazon picked this up, and I hope that this trend of podcasts getting onto other mediums continues, because the Nerdy Things podcast needs a TV show. I mean, just saying that right now.
Yeah, we do.
If anybody wants to get on this right now, Netflix, if you want to, get us while we're hot right now, episode, what is it, 29?
29, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we gotta, get it going. Get in early right here.
Yeah, don't wait too long
Amazon.
until our price goes way up.
Yeah.
It's going up, yeah.
By the second.
One cool thing about the guy that does lore, his name is Aaron. He actually lives on the North Shore of Boston, right up
how about that?
near you.
What?
Yeah, I actually think it's closer to the ocean, but it's in our neck of the woods. He was born in Illinois, but he moved out here with his family, and some of the podcasts are talk about things that are in this area. Like I think they did something on the asylum that was it Danvers? So
the Salem witch trials. I'm sure they probably did some stuff on that kind of thing, or maybe
I haven't delved too deep into this. This is a podcast that was recommended to me repeatedly by different people, but I just haven't had time. Because I've been listening to other stuff. I told you the other day I listened to a lot of political ones, and I think your response really hit me hard, because you were like, why? And I had to ask myself that question, and I've pared back on quite a few of them. So I've gone down from like 5 political podcasts down to just 2. So I listen to Trumpcast and Dumb All Over every time they're out. But other than that, I'm trying to branch out into other lighthearted stuff. So
sure. Yeah, like this one, Lore, This American Life, Night Vale, those are like the everybody's podcast, something that people that don't regularly listen to podcasts, they jump in on these podcasts, and then they discover this whole new, this is an actual thing. There's a ton of people making these, and that's fantastic that Lore and This American Life and all those have the notoriety to bring people into the medium and get more people listening to podcasts.
That's right.
Yeah.
We were talking a little bit about notoriety last week too, when we talked about how Super Troopers 2 was teasing their release date for 4/20 next year. And Tim could not believe that they had to raise money on Kickstarter. Well, we got an official teaser trailer for it, and I gotta tell you, it looks fucking phenomenal.
Holy crap, it looks good.
I can't wait.
I watched it, I was like, wow.
I forgot how much I've loved Super Troopers. Especially since I've seen that once or twice, and I've seen the others from them in the meantime, but Super Troopers is just, like, the timing of the comedy, the way that it was, everything about it, the delivery of it, I loved it, and I feel like they from the trailer, they've captured that again for the sequel.
Super Troopers is awesome. I mean, they've definitely been a mixed bag of work. Beer Fest was really good, but come on, Super Troopers is classic. There's no way that this won't be good. And it's going to do well, I think. So good for them. If they raise the money on Kickstarter and it all goes to them, that's awesome. We'll talk a little bit, excuse me, when we get into our main topic on Logan Lucky, we'll talk a little bit about alternate film distribution and how the film industry is going to be hopefully evolving and allowing for more creative expression from its content people. So yeah, this is cool. I mean, great. Good for them that they get total control over this, and I hope they crush it.
Yeah, for sure. I see what you're saying, Kevin, that they did bring that essence from Super Troopers into this trailer, but I'm going to play the devil's advocate and say that it was only a minute of, of actual play of something. And, I really want it to be good, but there's a lot more movie than just a minute. In this minute, they did it really well, and I really hope that it stays that way. But as always, I'm kind of nervous and apprehensive when there's something that I like and they add something to it, or they go for a sequel, or it's on a new medium or something. I'm always really just scared, and I really want it to be super good. So hopefully it does live up to the hype, and it's going to be coming out on 4/20. And that was a huge thing. At the end, it said Super Troopers 2, and then it says 4/20 right there. So that was pretty cool. But
to Kevin's point, like it is only a minute, but you can tell it's been 16, 17 years?
16, yeah, it has been 16 years
since the first one came out. So these guys are 16 years older, but they still have that same vibe. Their personalities, because you get the impression that, especially when it's a group of guys that make a movie and it's like one of their first efforts, that the characters are not so much characters and just more expressions of their own personality. And it's always great when someone can get back to playing that, because that is who they are. So it's easy for them.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You can kind of see that in their movements and in their faces, their delivery in it. So, yeah. Sounds amazing.
Mm-hmm. You know what? I don't know if it sounds amazing at all, because I refuse to know anything about it. Shazam.
Yeah. That has officially started production.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's worth celebrating, but I'm with you. Like, I just said it before. I think DC needs focus. They just need to turn the dial just a little bit and focus in. The one good news to come out of this whole Shazam thing is that the director confirmed that it will be 2 different actors playing Shazam, and not a situation where they just, Captain America, him either buff or scrawny. So I guess
they didn't nobody liked that?
Well, for a whole movie, that'd be terrible, because Shazam is like this giant, parody Superman analog and a small child. And so that would just be awkward. Like, I'd spend the whole time complaining about how poor they de-aged or buffed up the guy. So
no, I definitely want to see the actor placed in a small child's body, just make him really small, really short. Bring him back 20 years or so.
Don't even CG it. Just do the whole thing where, like, he stands on his knees and you put the clothes in front of him with the feet dangling.
You get his shoes right under his feet, under his knees. Yeah. Yep.
That's how they should do it. I refuse to know nothing about this movie. I mean, I refuse to know anything about this movie, but I'm going to make suggestions to the directors based on my complete ignorance of what it's about.
Well, if
they went that route, sure, yeah. That'd be great.
Honestly, you should tweet at them, because I'm sure that someone will pick up that you have given them this advice, and it will become this huge news story that that's exactly what they're doing, and it'll all get blown out of proportion, and we'll be talking about it later like it's truth.
You'll get an article written about you,
or
saying news.
Knowing DC, they'll just be like, a fan suggested this. They want to see movies. We haven't figured out how to get them to see it yet. We'll take this suggestion, and they'll just do it.
Yeah, but they only take suggestions from people that aren't fans. We see that too in the Justice League reshoots, and actually to the point of the news stories coming out about nothing. Apparently the reshoots for Justice League are still following Zack Snyder's plan for some reason, despite it being reported last week that the Justice League first cut was completely unwatchable, which to me says that Zack Snyder didn't have his shit together enough to put this movie into a place where it could be a good movie. So I wouldn't follow his plans. I would just say thank you and do my own thing with it.
Thank you. Have a good day.
What does that even mean? Yeah, what does that even mean? Zack Snyder's plan, that his plot points, or
I don't
like what? I don't.
Yeah, I guess so.
Sense.
Like, I just think that he wasn't doing the right things, and if they're still forcing this, then we're definitely going to get a really good movie out of this. No.
And who even said it was unwatchable? It was just like everybody. Ron Howard, when he said that, did he say that?
I don't think it was Ron Howard, but I think it was other people that were there to see it when Ron was going over their first cut of it. And it was just not, like, the beats weren't there. The tension wasn't quite there. I mean, we've seen scenes from this movie for months now, almost a year. and none of it is coalescing. And
wait, we're talking about Justice League, right?
Yeah, Justice League.
That's not Ron Howard, right?
That's Joss Whedon.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Sorry.
That's
yeah,
okay.
no.
I was thinking it's
Just making sure.
Yeah.
No, I mean, they look the same. They're both, weird redhead balding guys.
Yeah, I had the red hair in my head, and I was like, yeah, Ron Howard.
Yeah, no. You said Ron Howard, and I'm picturing Joss Whedon. So we had, even though there was a disconnect, we were talking the same language.
Even though they're like 30 years apart, 20 years apart? I don't know. Anyways, Joss Whedon doesn't strike me as the type of guy who's just gonna like go and make someone else's movie. So, I mean, who knows how any of these reports, how credible any of them are.
Right.
Whether they say it's unwatchable or whether they say he's using their same plans, whatever that means, who knows how credible any of this is? Because I just don't believe that he would take over and go, yeah, I'll just keep making the same movie. He's going to put his own stamp on it. Like it'll be what he wants it to be.
I hope he will, but this is part of my frustration with DC too. Not only do they keep consistently putting out mediocre to terrible movies, but they're doing it in a way that everyone is talking about them in the wrong ways up until that point. They have quote unquote leaks, and they have all of these people that are speculating, and they have all of this stuff, and they do nothing to set the ship right. They just kind of let it be. And like the last week, the director of the standalone Batman movie, Matt Reeves, was literally quoted as saying that he was approached and told that it was a standalone film and that he could have creative freedom to do what he wanted with that film. And I mean, that's terrifying to me. You've started building this universe, and then the director of one of your movies that is your flagship property movies has come out and said that he's doing his own thing and it's not connected to the other one. And then within a day, he comes out and he's like, oh, nope, just kidding. No, it's totally part of that universe. I just found out. And
they told me to say.
Yeah. And so like
allegedly,
which one is true? I don't know. And there is no real, like, it doesn't make me feel confident in them. It seems like he doesn't know either.
Definitely. So I think what they're doing, or what they have in their head, is like, everybody's talking about this sort of thing. Everybody's talking about these issues and these stories, and then in DC's mind, they're like, let's just wait till they see it. They'll forget about all that stuff. Just wait till the product comes out. And they're not really helping out the situation as it goes along, and people still have those misconceptions. People still have those ideas of the movies, and they're just like holding back on the press and all that stuff. They're just wait. The product's going to be great. And whenever the product comes out, it's not the greatest at all. And they're just like, well, maybe you should have done some helping along this, your stuff in social media, in press and all that stuff. But right now they're just like kind of going every which way. And it's not going well. I don't think.
If they were going to do this as a standalone outside of the universe, there's one of two scenarios that they should pursue and play out. One, recast Batman. Make it totally different. Or
like they're doing with the Jared Leto Joker, or the non-Jared Leto Joker.
Ben Affleck be Batfleck, either let him write and direct, or let Kevin Smith help out. That's the only two solutions in my mind. There's no other choice.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm on board with the Kevin Smith thing, but I hear what you're saying.
Kevin Smith is a bona fide Batman expert and comic book lover. An amazing filmmaker.
Yeah.
And rebooter.
But he's rebooting Jay and Silent Bob. So I
why do you have a problem with that?
Why? Because there's too many reboots. I don't need I don't need more Jay and Silent Bob. And
why?
B, there's just way too many reboots.
You didn't like Jay and Silent Bob?
I didn't like Jay and Silent Bob.
I love all Kevin Smith early work and the stuff that follows in that Jersey universe, with the exception of Jiggly. But all the rest of it is really good. But here's the thing with the Jay and Silent Bob is that this is a promise to his friend. Jason Mewes was deep in a drug issue. And when he came to the realization that he needed to get clean and sober, Kevin Smith promised that they would make another Jay and Silent Bob movie once that happened. And he's been sober for a while, and his life has been better. And I think Kevin was just waiting for the right idea. And I think this reboot is the best idea that he's been able to come up with. So I think that this needs to happen. And I just love that universe. I want to see another Jay and Silent Bob movie. So if it's a reboot and Kevin Smith thinks it's the best idea, I'll trust him on that one.
Okay. All right. I just hope they don't go ass to mouth.
You never go ass to mouth, Kevin.
Yeah. I mean, we were talking about Batman. We were talking about all of like DC and how they're going wacky before we got off on the Kevin Smith tangent.
Sorry.
And I just want to, no, Lee, I love tangents. But I do just want to touch on like this whole weird thing surrounding the other spinoffs that they're doing. Like they were fast tracking Suicide Squad 2. So that was in production. They're going to shoot that and then try to get that out as soon as possible. And then now they're not doing that because Will Smith is working on everything. Apparently he's in like every upcoming movie. So that's being delayed until the end of 2018. They're also working on, what was it, Gotham City Sirens, starring a bunch of female heroes and villains and whatnot. And they're doing that crazy, stupid love director Joker and Harley movie. So, I mean, does someone really owe Margot Robbie some money? Because I think she's in all of that. And
so wait a second. They're going to do the Joker spinoff. It's not going to be Jared Leto, but it is going to be Margot Robbie?
No, so there's going to be a Joker spinoff and then also a Joker and Harley spinoff.
Oh, okay. That's right.
Those are two separate movies. So there's one with Jared Leto and Margot Robbie, and then there's another one with who knows set in the 80s that doesn't connect to anything, but might connect to Matt Smith, or what was it, Matt Smith?
Whoa, Matt Smith.
Matt Reeves' standalone Batman movie.
So look, I just put two people together for you, and you loved it.
That's Will Smith.
And Kevin Smith, Matt Reeves.
Wow.
Listen, Margot Robbie's awesome. So I can see why they would want to focus.
She's awesome, but the movies are not.
Yeah, but I think that I can see why they would want to create vehicles for her. Because she's obviously an attractive woman, but she's proven that she is a substantial actress and screen presence and a likable personality just in general. So I can see why they would want to build vehicles for her. I get that. And while they haven't done anything else good, in my opinion, Crazy Stupid Love is one of the all-time great romantic comedies. So somehow that could work.
I guess I'll have to see it because I still haven't seen that at this point.
Oh, Crazy Stupid Love is awesome.
Oh, yeah. But Joker and Harley shouldn't be a love story because he's super abusive and all that stuff.
Right.
So it's all, and hopefully, I mean, what some people are speculating is that Joker and Harvey, I keep saying Harvey.
Harvey Dent.
Harley.
That's
Harvey
a movie
Dent.
I don't want to see.
Joker and Harvey Dent, no?
Joker and Harvey Dent, no. No, we got that one already, and it was fine. It had, what's his face in it, and he was yelling at the sound guy, and nah.
Joker and Harley was going to lead into the Sirens movie because she's going to leave the Joker and she's going to be with Poison Ivy and all that stuff. So if they play it out that way, then pretty cool. But I don't know. Like Tim said, I really like Margot Robbie. She's pretty awesome and all that stuff. And I'm glad that she's getting more movies as Harley Quinn. It's just, that's a lot. There's a lot going on there and a lot of time to mess it up.
No, there is, because everything keeps getting delayed because they don't have it together to start. You know, like Will Smith is not, I mean, he's so busy, he can't even do Bad Boys 3 with Martin Lawrence. And that's something they've been trying to do for, 15 years now.
Is it because he's so busy or
because
he doesn't want to?
Will Smith is the one that keeps coming out and saying that they're doing it.
Yeah, but don't you think he's just trying to make Martin Lawrence feel good? Yeah, buddy, we'll do it. We'll do it, man. Yeah. Yeah, we'll do that movie. Yeah.
I don't think Martin Lawrence wants to. He's the one that's coming out and saying, I don't know that it's going to happen. And Will Smith is still like pushing for it. So,
but really, what has Martin Lawrence done? What has he done lately?
Oh, he's been super
look
busy.
it up.
He's been I got nothing.
Maybe we got this backwards. Maybe Martin Lawrence has figured out life. and he's just happy. And he's saying to Will, yeah, man, we'll do that movie. I'll come back out of semi-retirement.
Oh, and he's hyping him up.
Don't worry about it. And Will's like, yeah, I want to do that.
In 2007, he did Wild Hogs. Oh, that movie.
That was bad.
John Travolta and Tim Allen.
That was literally one of the most horrific things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
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 Just sad sighs for Martin Lawrence.
Yeah, I mean, really, he's got nothing. He was on Partners TV show for a while in 2014.
Big Mama's House.
Yeah, nobody cares about that.
Big Mama, no?
No.
Black Knight. Black Knight's always on TBS. And Blue Streak.
No, that's
National
the thing.
Security,
like, I love
they're all
some
the
of this
same.
Stuff. Honestly,
he's always a cop. Yeah.
I love
playing the
Blue
same
Streak.
role.
I thought Blue Streak was great. I thought Black Knight was great.
Yeah, those are good. He, like I said, this might be true. Like, he might just be kind of retired and be like, I got a pile of money I'm sitting on, and I'm just enjoying life right now.
Yeah, maybe. I hope so. Good for him if it is.
Leading Will on. That's funny. Yeah. Plot twist. It's the other way around. Cool.
Oh.
So what else was delayed? We got something else delayed?
We had Fantastic Voyage also delayed. That's Guillermo del Toro working on that, but apparently James Cameron's company that's doing, I think, effects for some stuff told him, "No, son, you got to finish the Color of Water. What is it? The water movie that he's working on there."
Oh yeah, that water movie. Whatever it is.
Yeah. So he's got to finish that first before they'll let him have his dessert, and that's pretty much where that stands.
Does anybody care?
No,
I don't
tweet
care.
at us if you care. If
honestly,
you tweet at us if you don't care, because we'll probably get more responses that way.
The Shape of Water is what it is. But
The
Fantastic
Shape of
Voyage.
Water.
Oh, that one.
Fantastic Voyage was I think it's a novel by Isaac Asimov, if I'm not mistaken. And I mean that was one of the first books I read. That thing was awesome. I have not seen a really powerful movie of it because I think it's just a topic that was great sci-fi at the time and just nobody cares about now. So this is another one. I'm not quite sure why they're gearing up for this and why Guillermo is so on board. But if he puts his own spin on it, I could get behind that. Like, I kind of want to see that.
If he's got a vision, generally it works. Gotta give it to that guy. Like, he doesn't throw out a lot of stinkers.
No, visually, what he does is pretty stunning. You know, Pacific Rim. He's got what was the other one I was just looking at? Hellboy. I mean, he does good stuff with the visuals, especially, but with conveying a message through those visuals. So if he's doing something as simple as the Fantastic Voyage, I imagine it's going to be something spectacular.
For sure.
Yep.
Again, tweet at us if you care. Tweet at us if you don't. At Nerdy Things Pod. We'll talk about it, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that this isn't a case where he's scraping the bottom of the barrel to try to find something to reboot, like Robert Downey Jr. and HBO are doing with the Perry Mason TV reboot.
What's that?
That Perry Mason is the world's oldest lawyer, and he is just trying to, use his Southern charm to get people out of whatever their bad stuff they've done.
Why should I care,
You
Kevin?
shouldn't. You really shouldn't.
It was a hit TV show in the 50s.
It was.
So
in the
by
50s.
golly.
In the 50s?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah,
my
it
God.
was like in the, golden age of television or something
Why
like
is
that.
Robert Downey Jr. attached to this?
I don't know.
What's
Is he
that?
playing Perry Mason?
I don't think he is. I'm not 100% on that.
If he was playing Perry Mason, I'd be fired up for it.
Oh, yeah. No, I'd get behind that.
I mean, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
If he's not, and he's just like a production role, and he was like, I was a fan of this when I was a kid, then I'm not as excited. But if he's playing Perry Mason, I want to see that. Robert Downey Jr. as a lawyer is great.
It was reported that he's going to be starring in a film adaptation, but then they decided to move it to TV, so he may be working on this.
I mean, it's HBO, so it's not TV. Real movie stars, do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he looks like he is, but I just don't know. Like, I'd have to see the writers for it because originally they had Nick Pizzolatto, who is the guy that made True Detective, which I just think would have been the way to revitalize this.
Yeah, definitely.
And now they get Roland Jones and Ron Fitzgerald, and I'm not sure exactly what they've done, but I mean, if they've been brought in and it's HBO and Downey, I'll give it a shot. I'm more excited now that I've talked about it than I was when I started.
See, I am the hype train.
Right?
Tim the human hype train.
Bring the hype. Yeah.
Woo, woo. Woo, all aboard.
Oh, God. How many times have we done that? We've done that a ton of times. A bunch of trains going everywhere.
There you go.
But, I mean, have we talked about this? Why do you think Robert Downey Jr. wants to leave the MCU? Has it been confirmed that he is leaving, that his contract's going to end soon? I mean, it's just a money train that he's on.
Yeah.
Again, with the trains. But have we talked about why he's... Yeah, there you go. Why he's leaving, or what's his thoughts on that? I mean, what do y'all think?
Well, this is another thing.
Is he just
there's
done
a ton
with his
of
character?
Just pointless speculation on. His contract is up like every movie, and so they renew him and throw money at him, and he comes back. And I think that if it makes sense for the character, and if it makes sense for his bank account, he'll come back because he knows he's a lot of the draw of putting butts in seats for these movies up to this point. I think the Marvel movies are getting legs, and I think that, we're seeing some of that branching out because he hasn't been in Guardians, he hasn't been in Doctor Strange, and yet we're seeing some of those make money. He's, he hasn't really been in Thor, even though Thor has been in Avengers. So
yeah,
we're seeing some other people pull audiences in. So I think that Marvel could start to look at someone else. And I think Marvel could start to say, we don't need you for this. We're not going to pay you as much. And if he wants in, great. If he doesn't, also great.
Well, he has repeatedly said, too, that he knows he can't play Iron Man forever. Because a 60-year-old Iron Man just doesn't work. So he's self-aware enough to know that he'll age out of this character eventually anyways. But it's also possible, I mean, the Avengers movies are becoming so numerous and so demanding of the time of the actors that are in there. It used to be you could do one, you can go do another movie. But now they're like, you just keep rolling into every one. And Robert Downey Jr. is an excellent actor, a serious actor, a creative, artistic guy. So he may just want to stretch his legs again, be in something that's new, different, and cultivate a character, that he can craft from the beginning. Something that I'm sure he really enjoys.
Yeah, and I kind of have this pet theory that he's either going to die or retire in one of the upcoming Avengers movies. So I'm thinking that this is the time for them to just kind of step him out of this universe.
It's very possible.
Yeah.
The timing certainly seems right, Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
I just want one last Logan-style Iron Man movie. That would be good.
Well, that's the thing. Even if they do kill him, even if they do retire him, that wouldn't preclude a quiet little Logan style, as you say, standalone, set in a different universe or set in history or something. There's possibility that they could do this in a way that they could still bring him back if he wanted to and if they wanted to, but just de-emphasize his role overall.
Yeah.
And James Gunn was given some input on the next couple of Avengers movies too, a little bit. And he came out recently and said that Guardians 3 is going to set up the next 20 years of Marvel movies.
Nice.
And
oh, boy.
so that's cool.
That's optimistic right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But he's also working on a Starsky and Hutch reboot that I kind of want to see because I like Starsky and Hutch.
Yes, please.
And especially from James Gunn.
Are we talking movie or TV?
This is going to be a TV show.
Yeah, if he's involved, actually involved, and he's not just a figurehead, I'm on board because he's hilarious, and Starsky and Hutch should be hilarious. So I am definitely down for this.
Yeah, I mean they apparently don't have a channel that's working on it yet, but they're working towards
Netflix.
Yeah, I mean they're looking at, according to what I'm reading here, they've got multiple bidders among broadcast, cable, and streaming services. So Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon could be in the running for this, and that's cool.
Please let it be Netflix.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, gives them a little more freedom. They can do much more.
Let it be just a streaming service over a TV channel because they're so much better. Did y'all watch the Starsky and Hutch movie, the most recent one with Ben Stiller?
Yeah.
What'd y'all think about that one?
Yeah.
Just because I'm not super familiar with the source material, and I thought it was a pretty good movie, and it was funny and sort of interesting, and I was like, oh, okay, this is a good movie, but I'm not a super fan. I didn't watch Starsky and Hutch back in the day or whatever, and I was curious. Y'all are probably a little more in depth with the source material, so if y'all like the movie or not.
It was decidedly above mediocre.
Yeah, it was a decent enough movie. It was a movie set. It did as well as it did because of the time that it came out.
Right.
I think if that came out now, it wouldn't do as well.
Yeah, those guys were on a roll at that point. You know, Todd Phillips was definitely on a roll, but Ben Stiller, Owen Wilson, Vince Vaughn, I mean, it was begging for people to go see it. And they did. I think it was fairly successful. It was in the scheme of those movies, it was very middle of the pack, but that still makes it decidedly above average.
Exactly.
Awesome. Who would you have now as the two Starsky and Hutch now, if it was going to go to Netflix tomorrow, who would it be?
Jeez, that's a good question.
Do you think?
Yeah, that is a fantastic question.
Who has that sort of comedic edge, but, you know, can still hold their own in a TV series? As I'm talking, I'm thinking, because I still don't know.
You know who I'm kind of high on, and I think he's just about to get too big to do something for TV. I can't think of his name, but he was the lead in Maze Runner.
Here we go again.
Dylan O'Brien. Yeah.
Okay.
He's got a big, you know, action movie coming up.
Dylan O'Brien. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I've seen him in some stuff where he's actually, like, he was in a few episodes, or one episode at least, of New Girl, and I've seen him in some comedic stuff where he actually, is kind of funny. So yeah, I could see him being one of the characters. Younger guy. I buy that.
Chris Pratt.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But no.
Chris Pratt and The Rock. I'm just going to throw The Rock in everything.
Nice. John Cena.
Jinx,
and
you
Chris Pratt. There you go.
Awesome.
American Assassin is the name of the movie I was trying to think of that he's got coming out. And I think that might be his, like, launching pad to actually being, like, a big star. So I think you'll be seeing a lot of Dylan O'Brien. That's my prediction. But
You mean Teen Wolf wasn't the launching pad for him?
Dude,
oh, no.
He was in the
down.
Teen Wolf TV show.
Miles Teller.
Wasn't Miles Teller.
Put Miles Teller in everything.
No.
Sure.
Absolutely not.
Cool. And what else? What's another reboot they're doing?
So, did you guys ever see the Jumper movie that they did a couple years ago with Samuel L. Jackson in it?
Won't you just step back from that ledge, my friend?
No, it wasn't a movie about that.
Cut ties from all the lies that you've been living in.
Jumper had Samuel L. Jackson?
Jumper had Samuel L. Jackson.
I'm thinking of a different movie. Okay.
Yeah, no, he played a paladin in this, and there was a kid who can teleport, and he used his teleport powers for good. So this was loosely...
Dude, Hayden Christian Anderson was in that movie.
Hayden Christensen?
Yeah, why would anybody want to see him in a movie ever? I remember seeing that movie come out, and I was like, why would anybody go see a movie with him in it?
Right.
If it wasn't because you had to see a Star Wars movie.
No, and that's exactly it. Like this was not a good movie, and it was loosely based on a book that I found fantastic when I read it when I was much, much younger. And they completely fucked up that story. And then they made a sequel to the book, and then they made a movie, and it was just, none of it was really good. And so they're rebooting it, and that's great. The thing is, the story has some really good stuff to it, and this could work as a TV show. And I kind of like, I'm on board. I want to see where this goes.
The story had a good thing for a TV show, but as a standalone movie,
no.
Like, I don't think enough people wanted to understand it. Kind of like The Dark Tower.
Yeah.
Unless you knew about the story, about the lore and all that stuff, standalone by itself, it wasn't going to draw people. So I don't think Jumper did so well. And even though it had Samuel L. Jackson attached to it, and I'm pretty sure he was in all the promos and all that, but by itself as a movie, it wasn't going to draw a whole lot of people. But as a TV show and where they can expand it, I'm sure it's going to do fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, this could lend itself well to a serialized format, where, you know, it doesn't have to be like a procedural crime drama either. You can just have an actual story that unfolds over a season.
Sure. Like, what Well, I don't know anything about the jumper stuff, so I don't know. But
Yeah.
I was going to compare it to American Horror Story, where like it's just a story over a whole season. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I mean, I say the procedural crime drama because literally everything that comes out now is a procedural crime drama. You know,
there's like 20
Criminal
of those going on right now.
Season 47.
Yeah, no, seriously. Like they were turning King Arthur into a procedural crime drama. I don't know if that actually ever hit, but there was, you know, this. Yeah, look it up. This is an actual thing, and it terrified me.
Was it Guy Ritchie?
Yeah, yep, that's exactly right. No, but yeah, that's pretty much all I have for news. Jules, did you have anything to add?
No, I was going to ask how y'all are enjoying Rabbids. I'm really
yeah, it is
interested.
Spectacular.
Yeah. Damn it.
I plan on getting some footage up. I'm still playing through the tutorial, I think. And I will have more information for the website and for Patreon on it shortly.
Dang.
Kevin
cool.
and I will be playing on Saturday. I didn't buy the game. I wanted to kind of get a feel for it first, because I haven't played the games that I've bought recently enough to justify buying another one. But Kevin and I are going to play Saturday morning, maybe grab some footage of it, and hopefully we'll be posting some Rabbids footage, some exclusive Nerdy Boys playing Rabbids footage on our various social media outlets soon.
Hopefully we'll get into a fist fight.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
So perfect.
So if you're still here after all that shitty news, we're going to get...
Time to hit the main topic.
The main topic.
Huge topic.
Huge topic.
Right on. So what are we talking about this week, guys? Hey, Jules, what are we talking about?
Y'all are talking about Logan Lucky. I didn't get to see it. A whole lot of stuff. You know, the thing.
I think we're going to talk about two movies.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about Logan Lucky and The Hitman's Bodyguard, because Kevin and I saw both of those.
We figured if
week.
you didn't see one movie, you didn't see two movies. So we'll talk about both of them, and we'll ruin them both for you.
I'm totally okay with that, because as Tim had said, like in episode 4, if you didn't see the movie in the first week, what are you doing? And we deserve to spoil it for you.
That's damn
pretty
right.
So if I'm going to listen to them spoil it for me, y'all have to stay here as well, listeners, and listen to them spoil it for you. So we have some tweets that I want to read. I tweeted asking about Logan Lucky, what people thought about that. I think y'all can hit that one first, because we had some people talking about that. At Lolo Loves Films, they said, yes, we loved it, had a blast with it, and really got invested in the characters. Crazy, sweet, silly, and a barrel of fun. Thank you for tweeting us. At Rewind Replay AU, they said, thought the film was a lot of fun, but it also had a lot of forgettable side characters and was really, really long. And they gave a 6 out of 10. And I think William said he saw Hitman. Yeah, he said, talking about Hitman's Bodyguard, he said it was really enjoyable, closest to Deadpool and Nick Fury teaming up, but as soon as we'll probably get. But so yeah, I want to talk about the Rewind Replay AU's tweet. They said there's forgettable side characters. It was really, really long. They gave it a 6/10. What are y'all's thoughts on that one? This
Kevin,
Logan
do you want to give us a brief rundown of the plot of the movie?
Logan Lucky is a movie about two brothers. One works in a cave under a racetrack for some reason. The other brother owns a bar or something. Then the first brother loses his job. And he has a daughter too, and she also has two brothers. But that's not important. Did I mention there's a sister too? So it's a movie about two brothers and a sister, and they're gonna rob a bank. Then one brother goes to jail. But it's all part of the plan. And you better believe they have a plan. Then the plan changes completely. So there's two brothers and a sister and another guy and his two brothers. And they plan to rob the bank. And that's when things really got started. Because one of the brothers loses his prosthetic hand. And the FBI is after them. But you don't want to hear about that right now. So then there they are, on the run. And so it's just a movie about two brothers. There they are. It's just two brothers.
Thanks, Kevin. We really appreciate that. That
Glad
was very
I could be
helpful.
there for you.
Jules, I'm sorry, we had a pre-production meeting that you weren't a part of.
Oh, okay. Well,
we're going to insert something right there.
Oh.
So yeah, that's kind of, Logan Lucky is a heist movie. But, you know, typically you see a heist movie played out through the eyes of professionals or people who have been involved in heists before or have an inside knowledge of banking or something technical. But what we see here is a couple West Virginia down-home boys who plan a heist, and hilarity ensues.
It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. I mean, let's try to keep this spoiler free to start, and then we'll get into spoilers afterwards, just so we don't lose all of our listeners immediately.
Sure. Yeah, so I mean, the movie was good, and it's funny because my wife's from Texas, and she gets a little self-conscious about the Southern stereotypes, so this movie is very down-home, redneck, West Virginia, and she's like, why do, they always have to play these characters as stupid? But you know what? They weren't stupid. That was the key ingredient.
Oh, that's awesome.
Is that they come off as a little slower than everybody else. But I think that's just kind of how the South moves.
There's just no rush. Yeah.
Right. But at least Channing Tatum's character knew what he was doing. He had a plan, and that plan turned out to be much bigger than any of us even thought by the end of the movie. But they knew what they were doing. Everybody had their own skill set. And there's one thing that I have a lot of relatives from the South too, and we're very busy up here in New England, yeah. Kevin. Am I right? And when I say busy, I don't want it to seem like our lives are more important, but there's just more going on. Like, we have to plan for traffic, and that's like got to be the focal point of our day.
Oh, yeah.
How do we avoid taking our 35-minute commute and making it an hour and a half commute? You know what I mean?
That's ridiculous.
And so you just have to really focus on that. Otherwise, a good bulk of your day is taken up by your drive.
Down here in Texas, everything is about 15 minutes
down
away.
There, I was in North Carolina a little while ago, and they were saying, avoid this highway at this time because there's traffic. I drove around for 3 days down there, and I saw nothing that I would ever consider traffic in my mind, So their attention to little details is otherworldly to me. You want to go to this Rite Aid on this day to get this thing because the friendlier person is there and they'll take your double coupon.
Yeah.
That's cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't have the time to think about that kind of stuff a lot of days. And, there was one scene this plays out really well. The sister of the brothers is a hairdresser, and she's talking to someone about traffic. And, again, they're very, you don't want to take that interstate at that time of day because the sun is coming off this direction. So you'll get that glare. So you want to cut through this way. And it's just so specific how they know the time of day, and because everything's predictable. Everything's the same every day. It's not, one car crash totally throws everything into chaos. It's these same things are going to happen the same time every day. So their attention to detail is part of what allowed them to craft an elaborate heist out of what seemed like very simple beginnings.
And that was Melly, the sister. She was spectacular in this too. With her, I mean,
she was really
loved,
good.
She knew about cars. She was the car aficionado of the family. So breaking stereotypes there, that's fantastic. This was a movie that at its surface didn't look like it was going to do anything like that. But then when you delve into it, like you said, it didn't portray anybody in bad light that I saw. The worst we got for that was the, what's his face from Family Guy there? Seth MacFarlane.
Seth MacFarlane.
He was the British guy.
So.
And, British guys are always villains, so that's fine. But yeah, I mean,
yes.
it was a well portrayed, well thought out, perfectly executed movie in my mind. I think that this was a movie that needed more people to see it, and I think it's done fine, but I think still more people need to see this movie.
So I want to get into two things in relation to what you said, but I'll transition right into the who saw it thing. So Steven Soderbergh came out of retirement to make this movie. He decided in 2013 that he was going to retire from filmmaking, and he made some HBO not a documentary, a little docu-movie that won some awards, and he did a few things, but he hasn't done a film since 2013. And it was because he said he was disenchanted with the film industry. And this was supposed to be his way to get back into making films and to stick it to the movie companies. And he came up with what is actually kind of a brilliant idea, but only somebody with his resources could do. He decided to not use a U.S. film distribution company to release the movie to theaters. His film distribution company did that. And the way he paid for it was, before he started making the movie, he sold the international movie rights. Cha-ching! He sold the video on demand rights. Cha-ching! He sold the airplane rights, as they call it, to play in airplanes right after. Cha-ching! He sold the streaming rights. Cha-ching! He just paid for his movie.
That's awesome.
Wow.
And he hasn't even started working on it yet. So now he doesn't need a U.S. film distribution center to finance it. All he needs to do is use the money to film the movie, and then I think he invested $20 million into marketing. But that was all paid for by people who are, say, I haven't seen your movie, but you're Steven Soderbergh and it's got to be a good movie. So we're going to put it, internationally on planes, and this is all going to happen. So he was really excited about this opportunity. All the actors worked for scale, and then they all had agreements that they would get certain percentages based on, what they negotiated with him. And he created a website with a password, and every person on the film can go in, log in, and see when the money's coming in and how much of it's theirs.
Wow,
pretty cool.
That's intense.
That's awesome.
But the movie only made $8 million opening weekend. And his mind was that it had to make $15 million to be successful. So he wasn't particularly thrilled with the end result. But it's a start. It's a proof of concept. Maybe he'll continue to do this. It looks like he wants to. Maybe somebody else will get on board with a similar idea. But I have a feeling with a movie as good as this, if it had been traditionally distributed, maybe the movie wouldn't have been made this way in the first place. Maybe he wouldn't have had his full creative license. But if a movie had been made this way, I feel like it could have been seen by a whole lot more people.
Yeah, no, maybe.
93 on Rotten Tomatoes. Holy crap.
Yeah, it's getting great reviews. Everybody who sees it likes it. The critics really like it. And the thing, if this is a product of him being able to see his own creative vision, then it's worth it. But I loved how when you have a heist movie like this, I find that normally it goes one of two ways. Either it's 3/4 character development and only a quarter of it's the heist, and you don't get to see the thing played out in any type of rewarding way.
True.
Or it's like 1/4 character development and then we just get right into the heist and it's all action and I don't really care about the characters involved. This movie dedicated all the time it needed to both and to the conclusion at the end, to kind of filling you in on the things that you didn't know were happening. But we got invested in almost every character, even the little side characters. So, to the folks that reached out to us and said they didn't like the side characters, that's fine. I guess that's personal opinion. But I actually enjoyed almost all of the side characters, and I liked that we spent a little bit of time with each one of them. The two brothers, for example, of Daniel Craig, who was great, by the way.
He was spectacular.
Guys, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Daniel Craig's done something good outside of the James Bond universe. It's actually happened.
First one.
But his two brothers that were working to help from Daniel Craig's in jail. I guess we're in spoiler land now. He's in jail. They're recruiting him to help. They need to get him out of jail, but he has his two brothers help from the outside, in the preparations and stuff. And the two brothers were played by Jack Quaid, who, these guys are totally in disguise of who they really are. He was Marvel in the Hunger Games movies.
What?
Like one of the polished top district tributes. He looks like this, ratty, I don't shower redneck dude, And the other brother was Brian Gleason, son of Brendan Gleeson, because his kids are now going to become superstars. His other brother played Bill from the Harry Potter movies, Bill Weasley, and the leader of some of the Empire troops in the Star Wars movie, the most recent one. He was the guy that was firing up the troops as they're setting off the giant planet blast radar, the redheaded guy. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Almost looked like a Hitler-type character, just getting everybody in the propaganda. That's Brendan Gleeson's other son, so a little aside there. But those two guys are both like polished-looking dudes, and they look completely in character on this. And I really just enjoyed their interaction and how they have their own motivations and their own standards, even though it's, again, not what you expect, breaking stereotypes. It was cool.
It is neat. Very neat. I liked Katie Holmes, too. She was another one that was like leaning into that new money, Southern, rich McMansion stereotype. And I wanted to hate her, but I kind of liked the character. And she, I don't know. She was decent. She's getting old, and you can see it. And I think they played that up for the role with the makeup and everything. But good to see her getting out, spreading her wings.
Yeah. Under the wings of Tom Cruise lording over her and the Scientologists. Ooh.
This I'm looking at the casting list, and this movie had like a really all-star cast. It's pretty awesome to see all these people together. And that's
Are you on IMDb
really cool.
for it?
Yeah.
Who's the writer for this movie?
I lied. I wasn't on IMDb.
You fucking liar.
I was on Jack Quaid's IMDb because I wanted to see his other movies.
All right.
The writer is Rebecca Blunt.
Yeah. Do you know who that is?
She has one film credit. One film credit.
And that film credit is?
This.
Yes.
Logan Lucky.
You know why, though, right?
Wow.
No, I don't.
She doesn't exist.
Is it Soderbergh?
Rebecca Blunt, they're a lot of people think it is. It's either him or his wife.
Oh, yeah. It's a pseudonym. Huh.
It's a pseudonym. Rebecca Blunt doesn't exist. I don't know if more has come out of it, but what I'm looking at, people are speculating that it's him.
Well, I mean, this was his brainchild from the beginning, as I understand it, so it makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm. So why would he put that?
Interesting.
Why would he use that?
They don't want to give him full control over it. He likes full control, but he doesn't want people to know that he has full control over it. So you think
when he was pitching it to those people and when he was selling it before he made the actual movie, he said, I'm directing this movie and the writer is Rebecca Blunt. Do you think that's the way he pitched it? So that people are
there are people that are on set that exchanged emails with Rebecca Blunt, thinking she was a real person, and they were kind of confused why there was no press kit about her because this was her first movie. They believed she lived in the UK and were a little confused as to why she never visited the set. But it didn't really raise any red flags.
That's interesting because I was thinking along the same lines as you when he said it, Jules. I was thinking maybe when he was pitching this, he's like, I'm going to direct it, but I've got this new up-and-coming writer who's wrote this fantastic script, this wonderful treatment that we'd like to see the vision come to fruition, you know what I mean?
A little bit of sizzle.
Definitely.
Yeah, but he does have a reputation for being in control of every aspect. Yeah. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were interviewing actually the guy who played the teacher in Stranger Things.
Okay.
He was a small part in this movie. His name's Randy. I can't think of his last name.
Newman.
Is it Randy Newman?
No.
No, it's not Randy Newman, you dummy. I was looking at something else. Anyways, it's I guess it's neither here nor there. The casting director for this was the same casting director as Stranger Things. So good on them, or her. I think she's a woman, because both movies were fantastically cast. But he was talking about the direction of Soderbergh, and how most directors just kind of sit in their chair, look at their monitor, and then they filter their direction down through the different people. You know, go talk to the cameraman, tell them this. Go talk to the actors, tell them this. But that Soderbergh handles cameras like himself, that he goes directly up to the actors, that he goes directly up to the sound guy, the key grip, and he's like on every little thing to make sure it's exactly what it wants, to the point of he's editing these movies now, because he's shooting them in digital, and he's editing these movies on the spot. Like, he had a final cut within 3 days of this movie wrap.
Oh,
that's awesome.
It's pretty impressive.
I mean, no, when you are that much in control and you have a vision, I mean, yeah, good on him.
Yeah, watch out, right? So, thoughts on Channing Tatum, guys? Just kind of in this movie, but in general.
I love him.
Yeah, he's taken a turn for me into these roles that are really awesome. I mean, he, you know, at first glance and when he first got onto the scene, I think he was just, you know, eye candy, quote unquote, and nobody really thought that he can carry a film or be in, you know, acting in some of the movies that he's been in. But really, he's been showing a lot more, and I'm definitely excited to see him in this movie because I'm sure he did really well.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think he went from a guy who was just a pretty boy who I didn't want to see in movies, and then all of a sudden he's become this good actor. And like, he played I don't want to say he was a fat dude in this movie because he wasn't, but he was kind of an oafy, just bigger guy that was not using his visual appeal at all. He was just playing a good character and playing it really well. And I think he's done that a lot recently, where you just wrapped up in his character as opposed to paying attention to how he looks, which was how his career started in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
So good on him for making that transition successfully.
Yeah, and I'm looking at his IMDb, and from 2011 to 2015, he's done at least 3 or 4 projects every year, and he has a ton lined up, and you know, that's pretty awesome for him to make that sort of transition and get better and you know, become this actor that can carry himself and hold a movie and hold your attention. and play these parts that, you know, he's not afraid, I don't think. And that's really cool because he can, you know, do these sort of outlandish parts or be in makeup and do all these different things. And he's very versatile now. And it's pretty cool to see.
And how about Adam Driver?
Kevin?
Kylo Ren. No, you know what?
What is it with that guy's hair?
I don't know.
Like, why does he always have the long hair?
He is a weird looking dude. Like,
he is an interesting looking guy for sure.
So weird. I mean, I think he did a fine job in this movie, but I don't know. Like, I've only ever seen him in this and in Star Wars, and apparently he's good and or bad in the Girls show on HBO.
I've never seen Girls, but dude, he was in J. Edgar. He was good in that. He was in a small part in Lincoln, but he was good in that too. And what was the comedy that he did? He played a brother. This Is Where I Leave You?
Oh, it was Logan Lucky.
No,
brothers.
it was a movie called This Is Where I Leave You with Tina Fey and Jason Bateman. And they all play siblings. Timothy Olyphant's in this movie, Dak Shepard. I'm surprised neither of you guys saw this. But they have to come back home. One of their parents dies, and they have to sit Shiva. And he is like the outcast of the family. He's gone, and I don't think he's become rich. I think he's made money and lost money at periods, but he drives like a Porsche, and he's just this petulant, like, bratty guy. But he played the part really well. Like, I thought he was a really engaging character in that movie, and he seems to play that. You know, I mean, Kylo Ren is very much that same character, and even to a degree, I mean, this guy he was just dour. You know, he's always plays this kind of down, more introspective guy than you would expect, but I loved him in this movie. Like, his accent to me, that slow, plodding accent, was so well executed, because I've been at a gas station in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia, where I know I've met this guy. Like, I've met this character multiple times and talked to him. And it was very convincing. And so I thought he was a standout for me. I just loved the way he played. A little bit of a conspiracy theorist, a superstition kind of guy, but a war hero as well. Then he never wants to talk about it. Just super low key, but just totally authentic and convincing.
No, and I think that was what made this movie so good, was that Channing Tatum's character was able to take into account all of those idiosyncrasies of not only his brother, who he knows so well, but everyone else around him, and make it so that this would all come off without a hitch.
Yes, what an exceptional manager of people he was, and personalities, and making them fit together.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So what do y'all give this? What do y'all give the movie? From 1 to 10, how are y'all feeling? And final thoughts? Maybe something you didn't really like, because I hear a lot of good things, but was there anything you would change or anything like that?
Yeah, so you know what? I'd give this a 10.
Really?
Because I thought this was just a great movie.
Huh.
As far as things I'd change, honestly, I think it could have been fleshed out just a tiny bit more.
Really? Longer?
But yeah, just a little bit more explanation on like some of the motivations and what they are doing in each scene. But the way it came together was fine. Yeah, no, I wouldn't change much about it. I think it was a good vision. I think it was a well executed vision, and I want to see it again.
Yeah, I gave it a 9. And I didn't really have anything that I thought they could do better. I just think 10's a high bar. And that's reserved for movies, that are literally perfect. And it may not have been perfect, but I'd have a hard time picking out any of the small things and saying, you should have changed this. By and large, it's a pretty awesome movie. So I loved it, and would definitely recommend everybody go out and see it so it can make its money.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Okay. That's really cool.
Because it's going right to the actors and production people. So that's cool.
Yeah.
So on the flip side, the non-independent big marketing movie, we have The Hitman's Bodyguard, which Kevin and I saw this week as well. Kevin, what are your thoughts on that movie?
I thought that was a good movie, and I will give you a little bit of a rundown on it. This is a movie I don't feel like we can really spoil, because the premise of the movie, you know how it's going to end.
Sure.
There's really no two ways about this. So Ryan Reynolds, I'm sorry, let me start over. So Deadpool is brought on by Elektra to be Nick Fury's bodyguard, because he's testifying against some evil dictator, and hilarity ensues because they've fought each other 28 times in the past and live to tell the tale. So they're, equally matched, and Deadpool was, this AAA rated bodyguard, and then something happened and he loses his job, and now he's just he belongs in AA and he's a bodyguard. And I thought it was a really funny movie. And I think that you like you said, this is a studio movie. This was written, I think, I don't know much about it, but it was written to hit certain beats, and it was written to a formula, but I think it followed that formula well enough that it was a really good movie.
It is your typical action movie.
Yeah.
Like, down to everything like you said, there was no plot surprises in this. I never felt like I didn't know what was coming. Like, I won't say I knew exactly how everything was going to happen, but I was never surprised by what was happening next. It follows all of your typical tropes where you've got the good guy, but he's got personality flaws, and then you've got the bad guy, but he has an underlying altruistic motive. The good guy in the end vulnerably admits his personality flaws, which is extracted by the bad guy, who we learn what his real motives were to start his life, and we gain sympathy for him. So we like both guys, and they like each other, but they still fight each other. Like, even right down to the very end, when they're saving each other's lives, They're fighting each other. And this is like, we've seen this a million times. The difference in this movie, and the reason why it works, is this. Ryan Reynolds. I love Ryan Reynolds. He plays one good character. He's not a great actor. I'm fine saying this at this point. He's not a great actor.
Nope.
He plays one really good character, but the thing about his really good character is it transcends genres.
Yeah.
It can be in a straight up dude comedy. It can be a romantic comedy. It can be in an action movie, a comic book movie. It could even be in a drama to a certain degree. It transcends genre. So you can see it played out in different scenarios and still enjoy it. But he's gotten back to committing to that character. And I think his career is back on track, and I'm full on board. And I just loved the way he played this character. Samuel L. Jackson, you know what he's going to deliver. So his character was really good. And Gary Oldman is like a freaking chameleon. Like, in the total opposite way that Ryan Reynolds exists. Gary Oldman disappears into whatever role he plays. And he plays this Belarusian president who's pure evil perfectly. I mean, when I say pure evil, this movie, it can't be underrated the horrible things that his character does.
Yeah.
In the first 5 minutes of this movie, he goes into a guy's house to get information from him. The guy's trying to not give him the information. He then says his family's on vacation, and Gary Oldman's henchmen bring in his wife and daughter, or son, I think daughter, and they pan off screen when he does it, but he shoots them.
Just cold.
In front of the guy.
Yeah.
A kid and this guy's wife in the first 5 minutes of the movie. And then they show scenes later where he has massacred a village, and they show pictures of him doing it. Like, this guy does it. I know this movie's supposed to be funny, but it is dark.
Wow.
In terms of that character. But Gary Oldman disappears into it. Like, he's just such a chameleon.
No, I'm not going to lie. I forgot it was Gary Oldman. I mean, I knew it was Gary Oldman watching the movie, but afterwards, I'm picturing the bad guy in this movie so that I can make some funny joke about Deadpool and Nick Fury, and I completely lost that it was Sirius Black.
Well, that was the funny
Commissioner
thing. He
Gordon
first appears on screen, and Kristen nudges me, and she goes, "Hey, is that Sirius Black?" I was like, and I actually had to look for a second.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, it is. So those three performances carry a absolutely stereotypical movie because it's purely a vehicle for them to do what they do best, and they all deliver. And it's funny and action-packed and entertaining and really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is a movie where it was action after action after action. There was no let up in this movie for even a second.
No, but we managed to learn a lot about the characters too.
Yeah, I mean
it wasn't like they were absent of plot or character development amongst the action. We actually learned things about these characters and come to invest in them.
No, because they both are so funny when they're in the middle of an action scene, taunting and yelling and doing that exposition while shooting a bad guy. Samuel L. is ranting while standing up and shooting people, or complaining about being shot and how it's just like what happened, blah, blah, blah. I mean, honestly, such a well-cast movie.
Yeah.
I want to see more of this. Like, this is a movie that it, like I said, followed the formula, and they are almost definitely going to be doing a sequel to this.
Oh, really?
And I can certainly picture it,
so.
And I'm on board already.
Yeah, I would love to see more from these characters and these guys. And that's what it's all about. They just pick the right guys and the right women to play the right parts, and it worked. You know what else was neat? The music. Did you notice that, Kev?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I felt like there was one scene where the music was a little out of place, but I can't put my finger on what it was now. But yes, the music was decent in this too.
It wasn't to the level of Baby Driver,
no.
But it was definitely, the scenes were choreographed to the music. And when the scene changed tone, like even in the middle of a big long chase sequence, as the chase sequence changed tone, they switched songs. And it's real songs. It's not like background music. Like you went from hearing, a familiar tune to another familiar tune, but it went along with the change of the tone in the scene. And it was pretty neat. And because in the middle of all this is a love story, we got some killer 80s love ballads.
Nice.
Yeah. Love those. I did like the scene in the car when Ryan Reynolds just starts belting out a song to drown out what's going on.
Ace of Base, I saw the sign.
And it opened up my eyes, I saw the sign.
But he's singing it, so it was great because Samuel L. Jackson's singing. He's got a good voice.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't really know this. So he's singing some kind of soulful tune and he's clapping, but it's really annoying because Ryan Reynolds' character in this is very precision. He's all about precision. So he's singing and it's getting on his nerves, and I guess he just picks what he thought would be the most annoying thing as possible. And in full falsetto and everything, he's like, I saw the sign. I opened up my eyes. I saw. And they're going over each other. And I'm like, this is pure genius right here. This is so awesome.
So even though it has 40% on Rotten Tomatoes, it is the top movie as far as money right now, 10.3 million. So yeah, definitely these guys are selling, whether, you agree with how Rotten Tomatoes scored it or not, but it did make a lot of money, and they did put a lot of marketing. I saw a ton of promoted stuff on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter especially, just tagging Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson, and even using their parts. They're even like Deadpool finally teaming up, whatever, they use that stuff, and they definitely put a lot of money towards that. And that shows, I think, in the box office I
think this was poor timing is the only reason it's doing as poorly as it is, despite doing better than everything else. Because this was apparently like the worst weekend in movie history in the last like 50 years.
Yeah.
So
thanks to MoviePass.
Thanks, MoviePass.
No, it's a bad time to release a movie. I mean, it's just before Labor Day. Everybody's either going back to school or having their last weekend not in school if you're up in this area. It was, it was not a great time to release a movie. But the critical thing, like, we're going to put up my first review on nerdythingspod.com for this movie. I'll be recording an audio version of it as well. If I was an actual critical reviewer, I would not have reviewed this movie well. I mean, it's, like we said, it's as stereotypical as possible, but I feel like my job as a reviewer and blogger now, I guess, is to convey what the average person is going to get from it, whether they're going to enjoy it or not.
Right.
And I do think it's an enjoyable movie. It's not a great movie, but it's a movie that I would recommend watching because it's fun.
No, it's two different metrics, and I agree with you. Like that's sometimes why my opinion will change of something. It's not because my opinion has actually changed. I'm just looking at it from I like it or it didn't do this type of thing. And that's exactly the right way to do it, Tim.
Yeah. I think deciding whether something is objectively good is totally different from deciding whether it's enjoyable or not.
Sure. And that's something I'm going to talk about in a Patreon exclusive thing I'm going to record about the movie Death Note, because I saw that movie on Netflix and I had some things that I want to say about it. So yeah, definitely I understand where it's like objective or did you enjoy it? And Spoiler alert, for the most part, I enjoyed the movie. So I'll be talking about, I think I'm going to release, because I didn't see the movie. I didn't see these two movies that y'all are talking about, but I saw like some other stuff because I was just stuck at home watching Netflix. So I watched a lot of stuff, and there are going to be Patreon exclusives coming out. This comes out Thursday, so I'll probably put one up Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for everybody on 3 different things. So
I can't wait to hear them.
Sure, yeah. Final thoughts on Hitman's Bodyguard. What would you change? And your rating 1 to 0 or 1 to 10.
What would I change? I mean, I'd probably give this an 8 out of 10. Because I thought it was a good movie, but I thought it did have some room for improvement because it was predictable. You knew what was going to happen. I feel like we needed some more twists or something kept secret or something just to go wrong along the way. Yeah,
it was just super straight ahead, just like, okay.
It pretty much was. Like they revealed all the bad guys really early in the movie. There wasn't a huge twist in that. You could definitely forecast that coming the whole time. But that wasn't a bad thing. Like it promised you something and it delivered on that promise. So yeah, the change would be I'd hold something back and kind of release it later in the movie than they did.
Yeah, I'm with Kevin, 8 out of 10. And I think there was no distraction in trying to figure out the plot. So it allowed the main characters to really shine. Yeah. But if they had kept one moment where you're like, oh, like that mouth open, I can't believe that just happened moment, that could have taken it from an 8 out of 10 to a 9 out of 10. But it is what it is. And an 8 out of 10 movie is pretty damn good. So
decent movie.
Awesome. Yeah. So y'all got our thoughts on Hitman's Bodyguard and Logan Lucky. Tweet us if you disagreed or if you agreed or whatever at Nerdy Things Pod. You can tweet us there and we talk about your tweets on the show sometimes. So, anything else you wanted to talk about?
I just recorded an episode of Talking Fail last night. I have no idea when they're going to get that out, but that's a podcast of a couple of guys who talk and talk and talk. So if anybody's interested, you may want to check that out. I'll let you know when that comes out.
For sure. And Tim, do you have a tweet of the week?
Yeah, actually, there was a GIF that was posted.
GIF? There was a GIF?
No, I'm going to keep saying it.
Oh my God, I'm going to slap you.
Kill me.
You can't slap me through the microphone. It's Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and I don't know which one of her shows this is from, but she's just pouring vodka into her coffee cup as she's drinking it. And that was in reply to when Jules asked how your Monday was going. And that was from the NRWM podcast, which stands for Nothing Rhymes with Murder podcast. So congrats to you guys on Tweet of the Week.
Awesome. So again, go to nerdythingspod.com. You can get merch, you can become a patron, get exclusive content, see some articles, your nerdy news, and a review by Tim, and Kevin has some stuff, William has some stuff that he posted, all that stuff at nerdythingspod.com, at nerdythingspod on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter to follow us, tweet us, like us, poke us, whatever you want. I like to thank Adipsia.
Don't poke me, even if it's virtual. Don't
Facebook
poke me
pokes
ever.
Are still a thing, I think. So,
no.
I like to thank Adipsia for the use of his song "Friends and Let Friends Go to TGI Fridays." You can hear more of his music at adipsia.bandcamp.com, and he just released a new album called Imbue. And that just came out. That came out last week, so go check him out on there.
He's releasing a cassette.
Yeah, dude, it's a thing. Come on, guys, get with it.
I was with you in 1989.
Get with it. Get with it.
Get with
yes.
it, guys.
I'm going to release my music on a thing that no one can listen to.
Everybody can listen to. Okay, the thing is,
I only listen to music on wax cylinders.
The thing is, all the younger kids have older cars because they can't afford newer cars. So what's in an older car? A cassette player. So these
CD
kids,
what kind of older car do you have that'll pass inspection that still has
not
a cassette
me. I'm
player?
saying
they started putting CD players in cars in 1988, 1998 standard.
Hipsters, man, hipsters. Deal with it.
Oh man, hipsters and their
I
cassettes.
post pictures about my vinyl all the time. Vinyl's okay.
Vinyl has
different.
an innate quality.
Oh, okay.
No, because vinyl has an innate quality that can make it more enjoyable to the listener, an expression of music. Cassette is just a poorer version of CD.
Some people like that.
Yes, it's essentially a magnetic representation that wears out, and you get static and hiss. At least with vinyl, you're getting like the original grooves cut into it in most cases, unless you screwed up and cleaned it the wrong way.
Don't listen to these guys.
Coming from an audio guy, I'm going to geek out for a second. CDs are and lossless digital downloads are the perfect representation of what the artist originally intended. If you have a neutral set of speakers, you will hear exactly what the musician intended to compose. However, there is a certain definable warmth that vinyl offers for some people, even a nostalgic pop and hiss type quality that can make it a different and more enjoyable listening experience. Cassettes just exist in the middle as nothing.
So go check out Adipsia's new cassette imbue and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd also like to thank the Bell Curve for the music we use under the main topic.
There you go. All right.
Right on.
Talk to y'all later.
All right.
Later, guys.